The movie opens with General Maximus seeing his troops preparing for their last war in Germania. Not long after, a horse ran towards the horde while carrying a dead body on its back. Maximus signaled his men to get ready for the war. The war started. Fire catapults started raining on the barbarian troops. The archers began raining their arrows into the battlefield. The intense war between the Romans and the barbarians was heated, until finally the Roman troops were victorious. The Roman troops returned from the battlefield. The son of Emperor Marcus named Commodus, along with his sister Princess Lucilla, were asked by their father to come to the battlefield. Maximus was asking for permission from Caesar to return to his hometown because his task there was over. At night, Maximus visited his wounded troops. He felt sad and worried about them. He then went to the celebration, where Commodus approached him and offered to be his general alongside him, but he refused. In the morning, Maximus visited Caesar in his barrack to get his permission, but instead Caesar told him to be his successor and led the Roman Empire after him. With the help of the senators, the Roman Empire would become a republic. Marcus wanted Maximus to be Caesar and stop the corruption that existed in Rome, but Maximus instead refused the offer because he was just a general, and for him, the person who had the right to be Caesar was someone who understood politics. Maximus suggested Commodus for the role, but Marcus refused it because of his childish nature. Maximus asked for time to think about it. After the conversation, Commodus came to meet his father. There, Marcus told him that he planned to appoint Maximus to be the new Caesar to replace him after he died. Commodus felt angry and murdered his own father. Maximus, who was sleeping, was woken up and told that Caesar had died. He was shot and rushed to meet Caesar in his room. When he arrived, Commodus was already there. Maximus found it strange about Caesar's death. Princess Lucilla, who also felt something was wrong, suddenly slapped Commodus, but she then realized that Commodus would be the next emperor of the Romans and immediately apologized. Maximus ordered Cicero to wake senators Gaius and Falco because he knew something was wrong. One of the Roman generals, Quintus, came to his room. Maximus told him that Caesar had died unnaturally, but Quintus suddenly ordered his men to arrest Maximus. It turned out that Quintus was ordered by Commodus to execute Maximus because he was suspected of Caesar's murder. The next day, Maximus was taken to a forest to be executed, but he fights with the executors and runs away. He rushed to his house to meet his family. When Maximus arrived at the gate of his house, he saw that everything had been burned. He saw his family hanged and burned by the Roman troops. Maximus cried over his dead family and buried them. Maximus fainted. After he regained consciousness, he was shocked because he was already in the carriage with a group of people he did not recognize. They took Maximus to the town of Zucabar. It turned out that Maximus was kidnapped by a group of slavers. At that time, a man named Proximo was looking for a slave and took an interest in Maximus. He then bought and took him somewhere. It turned out that Proximo was gathering slaves for a gladiator. Everyone was tested to fight to see if they were worth it for Gladiator. When it was Maximus's turn, he didn't do anything. He let the opponent beat him. In the camp, Maximus talked with a fellow slave, Juba. Shortly after, the person who had beaten Maximus appeared, named Hagen. He was also a slave. Hagen explained that if they want to be free from that place, they must win every vow and be the strongest. Then these slaves were brought into the battle arena. Proximo was challenged by his business partners to bet on the deaths of his two new people, Maximus and Juba. Proximo accepted the challenge. Before the slaves began their battle, Proximo tried to fire his slave spirits. Inside the arena, the opponents were ready with their armor and weapons. Gladiator was chained in too. Maximus and Juba were chained together. They then proceeded to enter the arena. Every gladiator had difficulties because of the chains. Juba and Maximus kill all of their opponents. When Commodus was finally crowned as the new emperor, all the people yelled at him because they did not like him. Commodus arrived at the palace and he was welcomed by the senators. They continued to talk about matters of the kingdom. Princess Lucilla receives all complaints from the senators about his manner. Princess Lucilla met Commodus and advised him to be patient. Commodus planned a gladiator fight to entertain his people. A mini gladiator was held before the match. Proximo wanted Maximus to provide entertainment for the audience, not just kill the opponents. Maximus started slashing his opponents one by one in the arena until Maximus won the battle. After the battle, Maximus entered Proximo's room. Proximo praised Maximus's actions and revealed that Commodus had held a battle to commemorate the death of his father. Proximo wanted Maximus to compete in the Colosseum, and if he won, he could meet the emperor in person. Maximus agreed to battle in the Colosseum. He intended to take revenge for the death of his family. Later, the gladiators headed for Rome. When they arrived, they were taken to the gladiator barracks. A few moments later, Princess Lucilla went to a place where the senators gathered. She consulted with the senator about Commodus. Lucilla wanted the Senate to immediately stop the Commodus plan. He even let them finish him off if needed. Proxima finally brought the gladiators to the city of Rome to enter the Colosseum. A few moments later, inside the Colosseum, a boy was looking at the gladiators. He then met Maximus and had a short conversation with him. Maximus then asked the name of the boy, which was Lucius. After knowing the name of that boy, Maximus was surprised because he knew Lucius was the son of Princess Lucilla. Before entering the arena, Maximus and the other gladiators were preparing for the battle. Gladiators then entered the battle arena, where many people were ready to see them fight for their lives. The arena gate opened, and the barbarians entered the arena. The battle started. The archers of the barbarians began shooting their arrows at the gladiators. The gladiators managed to bring down the barbarian cavaliers. They took over the carriage while Maximus took one of the horses and managed to finish the remaining barbarians. The gladiators won the battle. After the battle ended, Maximus was seen looking down while groping the sand looking for sharp objects, but he couldn't attack Commodus because Lucius was standing in front of Commodus, making it difficult for Maximus to attack him. Commodus took off his helmet. Commodus, who was angry, ordered his men to get ready to kill Maximus. The people who saw him shouted, asking for Maximus to be allowed to live, afraid that he would lose the sympathy of his people. He let Maximus live and left the capital. Maximus and the others also took their way out of the arena. After the incident, guards came into Maximus's room and brought him into a room where Princess Lucilla was waiting for him. Maximus, who was still angry about the death of his family, accused her of being involved, but apparently she was not. She said that she saw a glimmer of hope in Maximus the day when he won the Gladiator. Princess Lucilla wanted him to meet one of the senators and organized to dethrone Commodus from his throne. The next day in the Colosseum, the next battle was about to start. Commodus came and sat down on his throne. The promoter of the bell started giving his welcome and started the match. This time Maximus's opponent was Tigress of Gaul. Maximus then walked into the arena. This time Commodus added 4 tigers in the battle arena. Several times Maximus was almost bitten by the tigers. Luckily Maximus could kill the tiger and managed to win the battle once again. The audience cheered for Maximus to kill Tigress. Maximus instead dropped his axe and did not kill Tigress. When Maximus came out of the arena, he met Cicero, who told him to convey a message to his men, saying that their general is still alive. The next day inside the gladiators' barracks, Maximus met with Cicero. He said that they were always ready to fight beside the leader. Maximus told Cicero to tell Princess Lucilla and gave her a message that he was ready to meet her. Cicero managed to convey the message to Princess Lucilla. Maximus, Princess Lucilla, and the senator finally met. They planted a throne Commodus. Maximus just wanted to take revenge for his family. After his mission was over, he would leave Rome and leave the fate of the empire in the hands of the senators. The senator asked for 2 days to free Maximus. The next day, the senator asked one of his men to bring some money to free Maximus, but unfortunately the mission failed. Proximo talked with Maximus, saying that he realized that he was being watched by royal troops, and that was a risky mission. Maximus convinced him, and he promised to repay all of Proximo's kindness. The royal troops came to Senator Gracchus and took him away. While in the palace, Princess Lucilla was surprised to see most of the senators were gathered there. When she entered her room, Commodus was already there. He said that he suspected Senator Gracchus because he had been provoking the other senators. Princess Lucilla came to meet Maximus. She told Maximus that Senator Gracchus was arrested and Commodus was suspecting that someone was planning to dethrone him. She said that they had to do their plan tonight no matter what. When Princess Lucilla returned to the palace, she was looking for Lucius everywhere, only to find him with Commodus. Commodus realized that Princess Lucilla had a plan to bring him down from his throne. He then asked his troops to arrest Maximus and kill all the senators by putting snakes in their beds. Maximus was getting ready to carry out his mission, but outside Roman troops had surrounded the barracks while pouring gasoline and burning down everything. Proximo then gave Maximus keys to all the gladiator cells. Maximus then asked Juba to free all the gladiators. Unexpectedly, all the gladiators were willing to help Maximus fight the troops, even though their lives were at stake. Maximus went to a secret passage to get out of the building. The troops managed to find Proximo and killed him. Hagen also got killed. When Maximus arrived outside, he saw Cicero from afar. When he approached him, it turned out that he was already dead. It turned out to be a trap. Maximus, who had been surrounded by the troops, couldn't do anything but surrender. He was finally caught in the palace. Commodus threatened Princess Lucilla that he would kill Lucius if she messed with him again. In the Colosseum, Maximus was seen chained, and Commodus planned to challenge him in the arena to a sword fight. Before the fight, Commodus met Maximus. He suddenly stabbed him with a poison knife. Maximus finally entered the battle arena, escorted by several Roman troops led by Quintus. The troops formed a circle formation where Commodus and Maximus fought in the middle. The fight started. The fight was intense, and Maximus was able to drop the sword from the hands of Commodus. Commodus asked for a sword from troops. Unexpectedly, Quintus instead ordered his troops to not give Commodus the sword. Maximus dropped his own sword. Commodus took out a small knife and attacked Maximus, but Maximus was able to beat Commodus and stabbed him with a knife in his own hand. Commodus finally died. After killing Commodus, Maximus gave a message to Quintus to free everyone who fought on his side and gave authority to the senator to reorganize the Roman government system. Maximus then fell and died. Princess Lucilla ordered the troops to give Maximus a proper funeral.